What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here Friday on Prime Media. We are back with a new face, a new talent in the building. He's a man of many talents, from acting to music. We got Alex Sue out of South Jersey joining us in the building. Alex goes to Rutgers in New Brunswick.
Hey, Rutgers, Newark.
I don't know why I messed that up. So
you were very sure of it, too.
I'm going to leave it to my man to introduce himself. Alex, introduce yourself to the people. What do you do? Why are you here?
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I am a singer-songwriter. I'm also an actor, a writer, filmmaker, so a bunch of stuff.
Man of many talents.
Yeah.
A man of many talents.
Thanks.
Alex, so you've been in doing everything. You've done
Right.
acting. You've done. How long have you been doing acting? Like, what started first? Was it music, segue to acting? Did that segue into filmmaking, or was it vice versa? Like, what started your interest first in all this?
I would say it's music, because I started singing lessons when I was like 3 years old. And I stopped a bit like after that, but I've always been singing. So I don't know if you know, like we went to high school together. So
yes, sir. Definitely high school.
I was in choir all the time. I was in musicals and stuff like that. So singing was definitely first. And then my eighth grade, I was in middle school. I went to see my friend Patsy Murphy doing a play, and I fell in love with musicals. So I did all of that, and that's how I segued into acting.
So that was 8th grade?
Yeah.
8th grade.
I did not think I would like musicals or anything like that. I've always thought it was weird until I watched someone do it, and I was like, that's crazy. That's so different than I expected. So.
What was like different about it? Like, what was like, all right, that's really cool, the way they incorporated music into it? Or was it?
I mean, it was like, so I always thought it was so cheesy, but then like watching it, I was like, okay, there's singing in it and there's also acting, and I never realized how much I liked acting. So to combine it together was like where I was like, that's the sweet spot right there. So yeah.
So you kind of felt, so 8th grade in high school, obviously you probably joined a drama club. You were in there. How was it like, the atmosphere of being a high school student trying to join that, like, drama clubs and stuff? Because like you said, you thought it was cheesy until 8th grade.
Yeah.
Damn well for sure, I couldn't hop on the stage at that time
Right.
and try and act. Like, that's a certain character. I would love to do that stuff now looking back on it, but like,
Back then, right?
what was like that obstacle you had to overcome that said, okay, like I could do this? Like, were you really thinking? Did you not care what anyone thought of you? And you just went up and did it?
I definitely did think of what people thought of me, because like high school and like middle school, it's all about your reputation or like your persona, right?
Absolutely.
So everyone's trying to be like this other person, and I've always liked music, so I was like, I didn't want to do it until I watched it, and I was like, there's no way I cannot do this now and try it out. So I tried it out, and luckily I got a lead part in the first thing I did, so that didn't make me feel like if I was a chorus member, I probably would have been like, all right, this is boring as hell, like let me get out of here. But luckily I was given the opportunity to like perform as a lead, so I had lines and everything, and I just fell in love with it more and more each time.
So you had like that Tom Brady thing, where you,
almost, I guess.
You were like, this wasn't your thing. Well, it was obviously Brady's thing, but like, you come into like a new environment, a new area, and you're automatically the starter. You're the lead role.
Right. And it also helps I'm a guy, because not many guys do it. So it was like, if you as long as you can sing, like hold a note, then you're probably gonna get a lead part, right? So I didn't know that until I started getting lead parts, and I was like, okay, like this is fun.
So is there more? So would you say, like, in that industry, that at least starting off, drama club and stuff, if you're a guy, you have a better shot at getting a lead role?
In high school. After high school, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more women who are doing acting and music, but like it starts to level out. So the playing field gets really equal, and like there's really talented guys now. It's like really hard to just like get in there and become a lead right away, Yeah,
because now you're evolving.
Now you're in it. Yeah. So in high school it was fun. Like we were all just like, me and Eric Holes, like we would just switch back and forth each year. Like he would be the lead, and then I would be the lead, and then he would be the lead. Like it would just be back and forth, while the girls would fight every single year for it,
Yeah.
So it was just more fun for me and Eric.
Now talk about the competition on the college level, right? Obviously college is more competitive. You got people from anywhere in the world coming in and trying to get these roles and stuff. Like, where do you find yourself as an actor? Because this isn't my field.
Yeah.
If it's sports, I can talk about it. But
right.
As an actor, where are you finding yourself trying to elevate your game to get these lead roles in the college level? How does that really work?
Yeah, so I never took any acting classes either. So So like when I went to college,
All natural.
yeah, it's all natural for
like
now. But I went to college, and like the first audition, I also got a part. And it was crazy because I was the only freshman who got a part in the musical. There was like only like 12 cast members, so I was like one of the only ones there. And that's when I was like, okay, this might be for me. Like I would really love to keep doing this. And so I started taking acting classes in New York City. I started auditioning everywhere, online and in person in New York City. So like that's how I started to elevate myself. Like I had to just keep going for things. And even if I failed, like that's all good. I'm just trying all the time. Yeah,
failure is one of the biggest lessons in life.
For sure.
Now, were you? This is like you self-promoting, you creating your own image. You're like, is this you trying to find when you're going to New York?
Yeah.
How do you present yourself in New York as, you know, when you're doing in this field? Like, how are you branding yourself in this area?
Well, as an actor, I feel like it's a lot different. Like, as an actor, you don't have to brand yourself necessarily. You just have to go in there and play that character and then walk away, right? As a musician, it's a whole different playing field where you have to really, like, give yourself a brand. And I feel like I haven't found my brand as of yet. Like I'm doing stuff, I'm making music and I'm doing videos, but visually I don't know if I have an aesthetic yet, and that's something that's really hard to do. And Eric Coles, let's go back to that. Eric Sky, he's a performing artist right now too, and I feel like he has a whole image, and I'm like, that's dope. I want to learn from that. As an actor, I'm just myself, so like I go in there and I try to make friends and be nice, and I do my stuff and I leave and then see what happens. Dope. And luckily I've done some short films where I played the lead, so like it was a crazy experience where I had my first audition in New York City, and I didn't think I would get it, and I somehow got it, and I played the role of the lead character, and then like it went to film festivals. So like it went to Tribeca Film Festival, and I was able to go and see the screening and stuff like that, so it was amazing.
That's really dope. Oh,
Thank you.
That's crazy. Where can people? We're actually listening to one of your tracks right now while we're quick enough in the video. Where can people find these short films and stuff and like your music that you're putting out?
Yeah, so I have my own website, alexsuofficial.com, and I also have my own acting website, alexsuofficial.com. So those two, you can like search up things that I see my reels, watch my videos and stuff like that. So
did we mention he was a mogul? I need Alex, who's a mogul too. We got a mogul in the building. I'm gonna get your autograph after this. I'm gonna get your autograph after this. Dude, that's awesome though. Your first major role. What was the film about?
It's about this Korean American. I'm not even Korean, but I had to learn some Korean too. But it's about a Korean American who struggled with like religious stuff as well as family stuff, and like it's like a small coming of age story almost. So I had to learn Korean for a few weeks. Go on set and just film for 2 weeks and then go back to like my college. I was actually in the middle of like finals and stuff like that while filming this, so
did that affect your school like big time?
A little bit. I was definitely more focused on the short film than anything else. Yeah,
it was worth the sacrifice.
It was definitely worth it.
It was worth that sacrifice.
For sure. I was only a sophomore, so I wasn't learning anything in college anyway. So
now, do you find yourself like a big believer in like fake it till you make it, especially like in this industry? Because like I know you said you come off as yourself. Yeah. Right. I don't mean to say like, hey, Alex is a fake in what he does, but like, do you find yourself? If you sit down and interview and a guy's like, hey, can you do this and this? Like, do you find yourself doing, oh, I can't, even though you know when you're back, oh, I can't do that?
That's a great question, because I think most actors and like singers, they're all faking it until they make it, right? Yeah. So like, especially actors, like you gotta do whatever you gotta do to get the role and stuff like that. So it's all about pleasing the person that's judging you, which is crazy because like every other job you have to interview and then you get the job, right? Yeah. For acting, like you are constantly trying to please someone else, whether it's the audience or it's the person who's trying to give you the role.
Say it again. Pleasing people that are always judging you.
Yeah. Yeah. Pleasing people that are always judging you. That's the name of the game for acting.
I never looked at it that way. Yeah. Now, do you feel like how much have you say you have grown from a networking standpoint as far as like, all right, I used to work on high school, so you're just sharing stuff around Instagram, right? Right. Now you're in college. Now how has the networking game changed as far as you're a high schooler and everyone's so compact? Now it's you have to get everyone to see it. Like, how has your network aspect changed?
I would say, obviously, I never realized how much networking mattered in high school. I mean, we didn't think about, I don't think anyone thought about networking in high school. We were all just like trying to learn and grow, right? So in college, like that's when I was like, okay, I really have to get up to people and talk to them about stuff, just make friends everywhere, and go to a lot of networking events. So like I had to rewire my brain to do all of that and be able to stay in the game, sort of thing, right? So it was hard to learn all that.
Are you like a solo dolo man doing this? Do you have like a lot of support? Obviously, you probably have a lot of support from your family, but like how much of this work is done by yourself that people don't understand, right?
Yeah.
As far as networking, getting yourself out there, traveling, like talk about that. Like
that's another great question. I did, especially with the acting side, I did so much of it by myself. So like I would audition by myself. I used to audition, you know, if there's sides, so when you audition, there's like usually a conversation between someone else and you. So I would have to record myself talking the other lines and then re-record me doing, like, it was basically me talking to myself before auditions because I had no one else to like audition with, right?
So you're sitting here, you record, then you get
and then I would
here,
respond to myself via recording. So it was like, that's how I auditioned back then. And then if I didn't do that, I would go in person, so I had to travel by myself to New York City and audition, and I did that as well. It was a lot, but it was like I had support like mentally from my friends and like my family, so I was able to just like continue doing it. But it would get hard sometimes where I'm like, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm on the subway just like trying to go home, and I'm like stuck because like the subways are closing and stuff like that, and I'm just like, bro, like I'm alone in this like city right now. It's a lot sometimes.
I can imagine how scary that is. I was in New York with my friend Kevin not too long ago doing a photo shoot, and we almost missed a train. It was 2 o'clock, and we're like, oh, we're gonna
the last train, right?
The last train. We got it, but we're like, oh, we might have to stay here in New York. I was like, I'm not trying to do that, man.
I've done that. Well, I've done that once, but like
for his
after
passion,
that, I'm like, nah, I gotta make sure I get stuff on time and like leave on time and stuff like that. So.
Now, like, as, like, a young dude traveling in these worlds, right? Like, the chip that you had, like, do you walk in with, like, a chip on your shoulder? Like, is there, like, what edge do you give yourself to go into a role that says, I'm going to grab it, right? On the show, we like to talk about all the time, manifestation is key. You saw in previous episodes with Kamara Chantel, Ray Jazz. We've talked about before, like, what's your manifestation process that says, like, all right, I'm going in and there's no competition like Alex Su right now?
I'm going to be honest. I have a really hard time doing that. Like, really? I don't manifest things as well as I really want to.
And he still gets lead roles. I mean, and he still gets leads.
I want them. Yeah, that's all I do. I'm like, I want this. But I never say, like, there's no one else like me. Like, I'm, like, the only one that can do this. Like, I don't do that. I should do that.
Really?
But, like, I don't. And I just go in there and I hope for the best. I think I just get lucky a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I get lucky, or like I'll hear things that are opportunities that I never, somehow just randomly got into. So it's like, I would say a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is just me like continuously trying. I think I always think of myself as I deserve to be here instead of like I want to be here. Like I deserve to be here. That's all I really say.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not like, I'm definitely getting this.
Wow, that's crazy. Is that like I don't mean to pry, but like is that like a self-doubt like
it totally is. I mean, honestly, when I was growing up, I never thought of acting or music because in America, I've never seen like I'm an Asian American. I was born here, but I've never seen any like Asian representation like in mainstream media. Like I don't know a singer that's Asian that's popping off, right? I don't know an actor.
Hashtag elevated. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hashtag elevated?
Hashtag elevated. They're a local group, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we done an interview with them recently. I think they're the next big thing.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, they're a boy band. Yeah, I'll shoot you their stuff after the show. They're a boy band, local.
I mean, now I'm
really
like
great
always looking for Asian American artists. Like there's a lot of underground ones that I like. But back then there was never anyone in like TV or anything like that, so I just never thought of it as something that I could do as a career, because I've always wanted to do like different roles and like be leads and have complex storylines and stuff like that, but I've never seen that for an Asian guy. So that was probably where the self-doubt was. Honestly, the reason why I even pursued acting was because of high school. So in sophomore year, I don't know if you remember, Hairspray was like, we were doing Hairspray.
Yeah, that was like the popular show.
Yeah.
Or like musical that we did.
So we auditioned for it, and I was up against like 9 other like guys who were white going for Link Larkin, which is a white role. So it's like Zac Efron played it in the movie, right? Yeah. So it was like me and like 9 other people, and I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, like let's just try my best. I got the role. But I remember seeing the cast list and then walking away and hearing someone else walk in, see the cast list, and make fun of me. Because they were like, how the hell did he get it? He's Asian. Like, that makes no sense. Like, Link Clark is a white guy.
Was and like that. Y'all had a mouth.
Yeah. It's like, it's like very subtle, but it's like, all right, like I hear that and I understand that that's what you mean. So I'm like, all right, I guess that's like my motivation. Like why, like there is no role for Asian guys in Hairspray. Like it's only white versus black, which is fine. But
you broke that barrier.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. That's basically my main motto right there. Yeah.
So like, did a lot of dude, you hit like a great point right there, because like talking in deaf, or like not even just the school itself, but like any kids in school, right? Yeah. Like I'm sure you probably almost been on the bullying aspect or picked on because like you're in like an acting club, you're doing music, and no one looked at as cool in school and stuff. Like, what would you do to get over that, or like was it go more so one ear out the other? Like I don't care. Did you understand it came with the territory? Because I was never even in that realm. I was like a very closed off, shy kid in high school. So
high school was crazy. If you look back on it, like I think all the ones who broke out of it and became like huge, whatever they did in their field, they were definitely different in high school. Like you did not expect it in high school, right? So like I don't know. I think I cared the most in freshman year, where I was just like, my first role in high school was a gay dad, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I had, if you know Mr. Emotions, like he was teaching me how to do stuff, and I was like, what is going on? And I was like, I was so scared of performing it because I was a freshman, didn't know anyone really, and I was about to be this gay dad on screen or on stage in front of like 200 people, right? And like, it was a crazy experience, and I definitely had a lot of like, sort of like, don't do this, like let's not do this, this is too much.
I can imagine. Yeah. At that time too, it wasn't like today's world where it's more normalized. It was, it was, if anything, just becoming normalized, becoming like a thing people are aware of, and stuff like that. Like
exactly.
Wow, I can only imagine. I feel like that grows you more as an actor.
Exactly, it really did. It really did.
In a high school standpoint, you have to pretend to be gay.
That's why I feel like I was lucky, because like each thing that I've gotten, it changed me in different ways. So like that first year I was a gay dad, and after that I was like, I don't care what anyone says. Like I already did this part. Like this is probably the craziest role in high school. And then after that it was Link Larkin in Hairspray. So
you got over.
I just kept going. Yeah, I just kept like growing and getting out of like standards and like the stereotypes in the bubble, and like I was just being myself at that point. So
wow, that's crazy. Did like the school how did the school approach that, you know, like a gay role? Like, dude, I'm sure they had to be sensitive about some stuff.
It was,
and they had
to, you know, do you remember Miss Bilda?
I do. Yes, Miss Bilda.
She was definitely the most concerned about it, because the musical, like, they wanted the gay dads to sit in the audience the entire show. So that's another barrier. So like,
wait, they wanted actual,
because we're not okay. So that musical, the gay dad is usually played by one of the people who are in like one of the leads. So I wasn't actually a role. I was like a subset role. So basically, what that means is I didn't have much to do in the show. I only had like 2 scenes.
Okay.
So what they decided to do was they put me and the other gay dad in the audience, sitting in front row as if we're watching the spelling bee. So the show's about a spelling bee. So like the gay dads are just watching the spelling bee, and so I'm sitting next to the superintendent of the whole county, and I had to act like a gay dad to him. So I was offering him snacks. I was being flirtatious. I was doing all of that the entire show, and then one of the nights, I think it was Friday night, it was like a bunch of seniors that were behind me, like 2 rows behind me, making fun of us, like literally, like just the entire night was making fun of us, and I had to stay in character. I was like, this is my character right now. I'm doing this. I didn't break once, and I thought I would because I was hearing some weird, like crazy shit, and I was like, how did I do this? Like, how did I stay in character? And I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. Like, I love this shit. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, you knew right there. You can't break. Dang, that's crazy. So did the superintendent know your role?
Yeah, at first he didn't, and he was so uncomfortable. He was like, and then all of a sudden I walk on stage, and he's like, what? Like and then after that he like really loosened up. Like Act 1, he was so tense. Like he sat in there like completely like not moving, not talking, and by the second act he knew I was part of the show, so he was like engaging too. So it was hilarious. It was so funny.
He would engage back?
No, like he would just like respond to me, you know. So I was like, this is hilarious. Like, I'm glad you're responding now. Like,
oh, I can't imagine, because at that rate, that's a whole nother aspect, right? Yeah. I'm asking you to play a role in something that's completely out of the norm.
As a 14-year-old, I was 14. It was insane. I don't know why they let me do this, but it was that. After that, I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is cool.
Right.
Yeah.
You're asked to do something that's uncomfortable to you. Right. I was like, out of the norm, right?
Yeah.
And then do it to somebody who doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucky you didn't get punched in the face.
Yeah, me too. But I'm pretty sure it's because I was young, so like there was no way he would do that. But
Right.
he was looking kind of weird. He was looking. He was very old, so I'm pretty sure he wasn't like a fan of it, you know. But
Was this a middle school play then? If you
no,
were
it was
14?
high school.
It was a high school play?
I was a freshman, yeah. So I wasn't 15 yet.
Oh,
but
yeah, true. Yeah, high school
yeah.
for you, 18. Yeah, it makes sense.
It was crazy. It was my
that-
first few months of high school, yeah.
And that was Hairspray.
No, that was
wasn't-
the spelling bee.
The spelling
it was
bee
called,
one.
like,
You did say it was spelling bee.
Yeah, yeah.
That didn't last long, did it?
Well, each musical lasts like a weekend, so it's like every.
No, I
it's-
mean, like, did they do that, like, more years? Because I don't remember that one. I
No,
remember
that was
Hairspray
you.
was the
You were
biggest
probably in
one.
middle school. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that was only in high school
That is
once.
true.
Yeah,
You did graduate. I graduated
2016.
17.
Yeah, so you were one
I
year
was
behind.
one
So
year
you weren't
behind.
there yet. Yeah,
Wasn't there
Hairspray
yet.
was your first year. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. So they really said, let me.
They threw a curveball because the other gay guy was a senior, so he was chilling, and he wasn't the more flamboyant one, I guess. You know,
You
so
were.
they made me the flamboyant one because I was younger, I was like shorter and stuff like that. So they
Had
made
a
me
higher
the
pitched
flamboyant one.
voice.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like really uncomfortable with it. I was like, I'm gonna do all this. I'm already like a small, young, like higher pitched guy already, so like. I was
Yeah.
freaking out. Like in the beginning, I was definitely freaking out.
Wow,
But,
that's
yeah.
crazy. But and like you said, that's where you found out you were destined to become.
Yeah.
Because all right, they can't break my role.
Yeah,
I'm getting good at this.
I
And
like
this
it.
I started here.
Yeah.
So the sky's the limit. I can do this. I can do anything now, essentially.
Exactly.
What is like a role you? What is your key role you want to do? What is that dream, Alex Sue? I want that. I want that.
I low key want sort of like a Joker role. Like I actually really like complex mental like capacities.
Think
so like
about it. Like,
yeah,
those-
yeah, like
those-
it's stuff that you have to think about it. Like you have to sympathize with the character before you like them. Like the Joker, like you people like the character, but obviously they
Yep.
can't excuse his wrongdoings, right? So it's like that complex
As
relationship.
a kid, you love the hero. As an adult, you understand the villain.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like, what did you think of the movie Joker? Like, what was your?
I personally liked it.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
And speaking of the fact that you want to be in this type of role,
Yeah.
the complexity, can you, as an actor from the actor side, can you break down that movie and what
Sure.
you picked away from it and
Yeah.
the points they were trying to make that most people, like some myself, I can't pick out the whole movie. You know,
Right.
certain things you pick up on.
Right.
Like I think that he really didn't laugh, or I think at the end of the movies when he really first time actually like genuinely
Actually
laughed.
laughing, yeah.
That's where I picked up on. But other than that, like, can you break that movie for us?
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I think like a lot of actors I think will like the movie as because like as a filmmaker I think Joker takes a lot from Taxi, which is another movie from the 80s. But like as an actor, Joaquin Phoenix is a master actor. Like that guy is my hero. That character, he has a lot of mental issues.
Right.
And the thing is like he really struggled because in society no one gave a fuck about you. Like he was someone that was pushed aside, you know, kicked in the curb sort of thing. Like no one cared about him, and society did not bring him up. There was no services that would help him, and that's where he broke down and he just became the villain that everyone wants him to be, right?
Yeah.
So it's like watching that happen and watching the human side of it, it's really cool for me because like you don't get to see that if that happens. Not to say like people who have mental illnesses will become that. It's like for him, the combination of his past with his mental illness and no help created this whole thing. So it's like it's a huge commentary on how we treat people who are having mental illnesses or are homeless or stuff like that. It's really telling of how we treat them. So I appreciate the way he did it. It was amazing.
Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix. Which one's a better Joker?
It's different Jokers. You know, Heath
Ooh,
Ledger.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
different
that. I
Jokers.
like
Heath
that.
Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, amazing actors, both of them. But Heath Ledger played more of a comic supervillain, right? He was more of just like a comic character. There was no human side of it. There was no real side of it. While Joaquin Phoenix played a whole person. It wasn't just a character. So two different Jokers. I like them both. Definitely don't like Jared Leto's Joker. That's really that's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
And he was perturbed that he didn't make the movie. I was like, dude, you didn't set yourself off.
He is an asshole. like have you heard about what he did to his castmates? Like he would send weird shit to like Margot Robbie
No,
and
talk
like,
about that.
Dude, so he wanted to get, he's a method actor, so he's trying to get in the role off set and on set, and like he would literally send his castmates like I think it was like rabbit's foot and like random shit in the mail, and they had no like warning about it, so they would open it and it would just see like random shit like blood or hair or like just random stuff, and it just freaked them out. Jared Leto is just a weird guy. Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, I don't know him as a person or as an actor or as white, but I just knew I didn't like his Joker.
Yeah, no.
I thought Heath Ledger was like the best thing as far as so.
For sure.
What would your take be on the role like that? Like, how would Alex Sue? We'll start right here. How would Alex Sue attack the role of a Joker if this is his breaking out point into a complex role?
Yeah, I would first probably research a lot about like the mental illness that he does have. So I think in Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, there was like mental illnesses that were specific that they mentioned. So I would research that, but I would also just like really dive in to try to make that character as human as possible. And if you follow a human, like, so I've always heard, my friend has said this a lot too, if you follow a person long enough, you'll fall in love with them, because like you just understand everything they went through and you start to like sympathize with them and just fall in love. Yeah. So I would just try to make it as human as possible. I would make decisions that would make sense as a human in that scenario. So
as an actor, how do you find the role, or I'm not the role, the voice of this character, right? So you know how, like, for example, Goku in Dragon Ball Z, this guy creates a voice for Goku, says this is how Goku's going to act, this is how he's going to talk, this is how he's going to get mad. Like, as an actor, how do you find that when you're trying to become a character, from the way he walks, talks, acts? I'm fairly sure you have to embody him fully, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to walk the same as your character as Alex Sue does in real life.
Right.
Can you talk about that process of finding the different tones of the body language?
So for voice, I haven't really had much experience changing a lot of the voices and stuff like that, but usually it's like the dialect. So if someone's like from Boston, I would try to learn about Boston dialects and stuff like that, but mostly you're right about the walks and stuff like that. If someone is very like very, very down on themselves and has no confidence, I would walk that way. I would try to make sure that I look like I walk like someone who has no confidence. So it's like I just look at every personality aspect and try to apply it into the physical aspects, right? Mm-hmm. So that would include voice and include like physical abilities. So yeah.
Now, are you recording yourself walk? Like, is that the same process as like your demos essentially, where you would sit and hop back and forth from chair to chair? Like, now are you recording yourself walk and like breaking it down and saying, all right, I should add like a lean to it or a slouch or something?
Luckily, I haven't had like many roles where I had to like change the way I walked necessarily, but I think for those things, I usually do it on set. So like, I never practice how I walk like beforehand. So like, I always try to just get the words down and then try to see how the personality is and then really emulate that physically on set. So, because I feel like the more you practice stuff, the more things get like really fake. So I was in an acting class.
Ooh, describe that.
Yeah.
Describe
that. In high school, I've always acted with an acting voice. So usually if I'm given a script, like I'm talking right now pretty low, if I see a script, I'll be like, hey, like I'll do a whole like higher, louder voice for some reason. And
more audience appropriate.
Yeah. And that was probably fine for stage, but if you're on film, it's a whole different area. So theater and film are so different for me. Like on theater, everything's big. You're on a stage, so like the audience is very far away. So you gotta do things very big. You gotta do things very like dramatically and stuff like that. But in screen and on film, you have to really like do things very subtly. You can't just do things big, because that's just not how humans are. So like you really make sure you're doing things subtly, and like that's what I do. I actually really appreciate film much more than theater nowadays because of that. I like being more realistic than just dramatic.
So you were, at first you're more of a theater guy.
Yeah, I never had experience in film, so like I've only done theater. But then I got to acting class in 2019. The Barrow Group in New York City, I love them. My teacher was this person who was an actor on TV, like she was on Mr. Robot and stuff like that. And the first thing I said, I opened my mouth and I started with my monologue, and she was like, stop. She's like, why is there an acting voice? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you sound different than when you were talking just now, and then you acted, and it's a whole different thing. So she was like, make sure that when you're talking in real life, it transitions into acting. It's like the same thing. So that's when I was like, that's when everything started clicking even faster, because like the script would not be so like hard to like understand and like hard to emulate. I was just doing things almost as if I was me.
Because
so,
I'm assuming it's more exhausting, right? If
to
you
have a whole person,
if you went to, for example, She Never Stopped You, and you had to go in this voice, it probably takes more energy. More
yeah. I never realized that, and then like once I dropped that, that's when I was like, oh, cool, like. This is still acting, because it's not you, it's this whole script, you know. So I'm still saying something different, but it was more me in it. So as long as that happens, like it feels more natural, right?
Yeah.
So
is this a skill that you have to keep sharpening on? Like, for example, if you don't practice certain things with sports, you're gonna fall off of it.
Exactly.
When now that you're in the film and you drop this theater approach that you've done before, is it something that you can just turn back on and do another theater role, or
it's like yes and no. It's like I'll always know how to act, I guess, but the more I practice every single day, the more I feel like it's fine-tuned and it's more natural. So like I haven't auditioned last year much because of COVID, so I started auditioning again these past 3 months, and dude, the first audition I was like, dude, this sounds really fake, and this sounds really like forced and like not natural. And that's when I realized like you just have to keep doing it every single day. Same with music, like your voice changes all the time. You have to like continuously practicing as well.
So what do you focus on? What's Alex's right now? Is it school's in, but COVID's in, so no more acting right now, and it's more music, vice versa? Where's Alex's main focus right now? I think you have a new song on the way. I don't want to answer the questions for you, but tell the people what Alex Su got cooking.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been trying to do both all this time. Like since 2016, I've been doing both like simultaneously. So I would act on stage in college, and then audition for films, and then make music on the side as well. So I think my main focus, I guess, would be acting, because I am signed to a management right now. So I am like a signed actor. So I always have to audition, but I'm constantly writing music. Like I write music all the time too. So I'll also work on that. I'm a really shitty producer, so I will have like other people help me work on it, but I write the songs. So like the melody, the songwriting, all the lyrics, it's all me. It's just I need help like getting it technically on the computer.
So when it comes to like that, when it comes to producing, that's where you're sitting down, the mixing process and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm really bad at producing. Like I'm really bad at like pressing the buttons to like make things work. I'm just writing it. So I'm like playing an instrument and just writing the lyrics to it. And then I have a guy in North Carolina helping me, and I have someone from Ireland helping me. Like Open Call, my last single, that's from a guy from Ireland. Like it was amazing collaboration. So
how do you meet these people? Is it LinkedIn? Is it
Reddit? Reddit? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Reddit is like a sweet spot for musicians. Like there is subreddits called like We Are the Music Makers. We have like subreddit of producers where you just meet other people from all around, and just like listen to their stuff and then like collab with them. So like I've worked with someone from Colorado, someone from North Carolina, Ireland, etc., LA, San Francisco. It was really fun to meet all these people.
And how many projects have you put out together between all these guys, these years of you starting it?
Yeah, I actually only started last year. I found the Reddit page last year, so 3 at the moment.
This one's been cooking.
Yeah. So this new song, Jenga, I wrote this song about like relationships and how toxic relationships almost feel like Jenga pieces, where you know the Jenga game, like
you pull the piece out.
So so the whole object of the game is for someone to pull the Jenga block out, and whoever makes the tower fall, that's like who loses, right? So to me, that's like a toxic relationship where you're constantly fighting and no one's winning because it's just gonna fall at the end, right? So that's how the inspiration behind that song. And I had a North Carolina producer help me figure that out. So it's one of my most like, I'm really into it and I'm really excited to put it out. So I'm trying to figure out like how to do a music video for it and stuff like that. But I want it to like look visually good,
Yeah, absolutely. Is this when you write these songs, are you speaking more from a sense of, and this is one question I love to get into the shoes of the musician, the artist. Yeah. Are you speaking from experience, or are you speaking from what you've seen overall? Because I know when Jordan Lucas wrote his song "I'm Sorry," he wrote it from. You do? I love him too. He wrote that song from a standpoint of watching. He said he was never suicidal, but he just took stories and watching and hearing about people that he was able to collect that song. So
for sure,
you're writing the song about relationships, Jenga pieces. Great analogy.
Thank you.
Great metaphor. I never would have thought of that. Where did that come from? Seeing it, visioning it,
Great question. So I start off writing a lot from my own experiences, and I would write it in like metaphors and write it in ways that it's not so like on the page, like you can exactly understand it. So I always try to mask it with like other things. But Jenga specifically, I was watching my roommate in college go through a sort of falling relationship, and we used to love playing Jenga where like we had dares on it each block. So like we always play Jenga like every week, and we would do dares and stuff like that. And like what's it called, I watched his relationship fall slowly, and I started to like pick up on that. And like somehow after a concert, I went to a Lorde concert, and that same night I was like, damn, her songs are dope. And I wrote something that was like in the vein of her, and like also with my own experiences and what I've seen. So I do both. I've written from my own experiences. I've written from fake experiences. Like I'll pretend that something happens, right? And I'll write from people who I've seen and watched and watch what they did. So.
Wow, that's interesting. That's a really cool aspect.
Each song comes differently, for sure. Yeah,
oh, I can only imagine. Now, do you get worried as like if you write some from experience, do you get worried someone might pick up like, yo, was that hit you up like, yo, was that song about me? Like,
funny story. That happened. So when I was a freshman in college, I had so many songs written, but I never played instruments, right? So my roommate, the same roommate that I wrote Jenga about, he taught me how to play ukulele, and like instantly I learned it within a week somehow. I don't know what happened where it felt magical, where I was just like, oh, I can play this now somehow.
Yeah.
So that same summer, I produced, so I just like did a me and uke album where it's just a ukulele and it's just a bunch of songs, and I did all of that, and I put it out. And the first thing, there's this one song called Sarah, and my best friend at the time was Sarah Todd, and in high school I used to, I was in love with her. And there was this one other person who also likes her and saw the album and started a group chat to decipher my lyrics and hated on it. Like they bought the album on iTunes and then started deciphering it and was like, "This is all this whole exactly. This whole album's about Sarah. Like this is pathetic." And I was like, "It's only one song about her, and the rest is not." And it was really funny to see because like one of my friends was in that group chat and he was like, "What the hell is this?" Like he sent me all of it, and I was like, "That's hilarious. Like this is hilarious." Then that same group of people came to my show in Rutgers, Newark, which is like an hour and a half away, to see my show. And it like also trashed it.
Are you cool?
Weird.
Oh, are you? Oh, so
I don't talk to them.
Ask if you were cool with them.
I don't talk to them. I don't even know them. Like I think they're in your grade. I don't. I'm not gonna like expose anything.
Yeah,
they're in your grade. Yeah, we'll talk about that after. But
we'll talk about that after.
I don't know them personally, and like it was very funny to watch them like decipher my lyrics. Cause like those lyrics aren't just like easy to decipher. I mean, Sarah is the title of the song, but even then there was stuff that wasn't just about her.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
No, that's an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
Because people are going to go out their way to hate on it because they think it's funny, and people are going to join on it, and they're going to get the fulfillment of making other people laugh or making themselves look smart because they're able to decode lyrics. It's still benefiting you, right? Everyone gets a haters thing, the haters mentality, whatever. Because I've seen it too with the podcast. I remember I was told Strictly an Edge, like this wasn't going to work out. And
really?
Like, you just got to keep punching at it, you know what I'm saying?
But if you like it.
When you see that stuff, you saw them in your show. So obviously you're on stage right now.
Yeah.
You're in character. You're doing your thing, and you look in the crowd. You saw them in your show. Like, what? You're obviously mentally strong because nothing clearly can throw you off your game. I can throw a rock at you, and you're not going to care. Like you're just going to keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
But like, what is the thought process as an actor? You're here. But you're still acting. Like,
sure.
Do you get more nervous? Do you get let me think how I'm acting. Or you just
in high school probably. I think high school I probably, if I knew someone was coming to the show, I'd be like, all right, let me try to be.
You don't care.
Yeah, nowadays I don't care. I really don't. I actually nowadays I don't perform on stage and I don't look in the crowd. So like I didn't know they were there until afterwards.
Oh,
I saw them
my
after.
bad.
No, you're good. But like I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. If they were there and I saw them, I'd be like, all right, like see this, like watch this. I guess like I don't know why you're here.
Yeah,
I don't know them. Like I don't know why. Like I don't know these people. Like it's really funny, but I had a good time.
Hey, I mean,
I had a good time.
Benefits you because I'm assuming you had to buy a ticket to get in.
Yeah. So I was telling Sarah, I was like, all right, so they bought the album, which is $14. Then they had to buy these tickets, which is $15. Then they had to drive there. So I'm like, yo, you really spent like $50 just to hate on me. Like I don't understand where this is coming from.
Yeah, but, like that's. Yeah. And do you benefit as an actor in college? Like I know sports athletes, there's a whole thing where they get paid. Like as a musician,
do players get paid?
Do I want players to get paid?
No. Do you want like Division I players? Do they get paid?
No, they
No,
don't.
right?
But they want to get paid for like.
They should. They should.
Oh,
Because like they make all the money. Like I think the coaches get paid a lot, right, in college, right?
The coaches get paid a lot.
And the thing is, like, that's fine and all, but the players should also get paid because they're getting broadcasted. They're making a lot of money. Like, I don't understand it, but it's all the universities, they're getting the money. So it's like, where is that coming? I don't know. But as an actor, I also don't get paid, which is the same thing, which I also believe we should get paid because we're doing a whole thing during college to do this, you know?
Now, obviously, for athletes, right, you had Zion, you have these good guys, like you have Heisman Trophy winners that come out. There'll be top ranks. Like you have Trevor Lawrence coming out, who's arguably the number one. He's gonna be the number one draft pick in the NFL.
Right.
They get this exposure given to him from the college and these platforms on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
As an actor, right? I'm not gonna see that on SportsCenter.
It's different, yeah.
But what are they doing for you guys? Okay, Alex Sue, you're a great actor for Rutgers Newark. You bring in so many eyes. A lot of people here to see you. What are they doing to expose Alex Sue as an actor versus what people do in sports?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's a sad truth. Like, as athletes, like, you don't get paid, but you do get a lot of exposure, right? As an actor, unless you're in like the big acting ones, like NYU, there's some few that are really big acting institutions. For my school, Rutgers Newark, it wasn't a big acting sort of school, so therefore there's no like exposure, right? Do you know the show called Rami on Hulu?
No.
So this guy.
I don't watch a lot of TV.
You're good. You're really fine. It's like it's sort of like this critical show that's like getting a lot of awards, right? So this guy named Rami Youssef, he's from Rutgers Newark. And he was from that same department that I was in, right? Only like 6 years before I entered it. And he left that school because he was like, fuck it, I got to do my own thing. Because he was in that school for 3 years and didn't get anywhere. Like, he just felt like he was just stuck there. So he left, went to LA, started writing his own shows. And Rami, the show on Hulu, is his own, like, work. And he has won Best Actor at, like, Golden Globes. Like, he's done really well.
Is this the guy that plays? Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No,
wait, that's Rami Malek.
That's the guy who's Bohemian Rhapsody. That's not him. Two different Ramis, but they're both really successful right now, which is great. Yeah.
So is that like, what's your mindset then? Like, okay, like, or do you feel like you're gaining a lot in this college? Do you feel like you might have to go on your own? Because it's obviously very what's the word, uncomfortable setting, right? You don't really have no security. It's
no security.
This is straight chasing your dream, all grind, like all gas, no brakes, essentially. And
yeah,
you're doing your thing. Like, do you feel like you're gonna have to go on your own spin, or are you riding this college thing out? Like, what's your mindset?
So I'm already done college, right? So I'm already on my own at this point because there's no resources really. But I've met a lot of great people, and that's just my network of friends and also like collaborators. So I'm definitely grateful to meet these people. But I'm definitely on my own at the moment to like do auditions and stuff like that. Luckily, I met a friend who is signed to a management, so that's how I got signed. So there is like really good benefits to like knowing people and being in programs and stuff like that. So I did benefit from that. But as of now, I am auditioning by myself and stuff like that.
Awesome,
so,
good for you.
Yeah.
Is there any upcoming films that you are like for example, I'm assuming COVID has this industry kind of shut down to an extent, or it's very tight on who they let in.
Yeah.
Is there something that you have that's in a set date? For example, a show that was supposed to go this year, or short film?
Yeah. So
I started so hard right there.
No, you're good.
Oh my god.
Let's see. So I don't have short films at the moment because short films are completely like not a thing right now because of COVID. But I am on a show as an extra, but I can't say what the show is because I signed an NDA. But it's a really popular show reboot that's coming soon. So I'll hopefully be in the show. Like I don't know how much I'll be in it, but I did like shoot for a few days on set, and it was my first like experience being on a studio. So like I've always filmed on locations, stuff like that, but this time it was like an actual set. Like they build the location.
Oh,
you know?
So like they
it's
have
a huge lot, right?
Right.
And then like they build like the building, they build the rooms, yeah, and like it was the first time where it was like it felt very like TV like, right? So yeah, I'm on that, but that was the only thing I've done this year, which is really cool. Like I did it in January or December, so
awesome.
Yeah.
And music wise, you talked about a new song. When are people going to expect? When can people expect to see that come out?
So I'm really hoping to release this song next month. I'm still working out the kinks of like music videos and stuff like that. I already made a lyric video for it, so it's already like sort of done. Like the music's done and the lyric video is done. I just have to figure out what the visual is.
Yeah.
But after that, I'll release it, which is like probably next month.
So you're gonna release the video first and then the song?
I think that the video will have the song in it. So probably the song and then the video will be like conjoined with it. So yeah.
Dope. You know, I appreciate you for coming out here.
Of course, thank
Taking
you.
your time. You're probably a very busy man and stuff. And where can people, say it again? Where do you want people to go? You got your own website. You got your own.
Yeah.
Talk about that one more time.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on my music journey or acting journey, there's 2 websites: alexsuofficial.com and alexsuofficial.com. My socials like Instagram, alexsuofficial, YouTube. I do stuff there, random stuff too, and TikTok and Twitter. It's all over the place. You can find it everywhere.
He's a mogul.
Hopefully.
We're speaking into existence. He's going to grow the manifestation key that he needs.
Let's do it.
We're going to change that hopefully to I will be. This man is an entrepreneur on his own where he's an actor, he's a filmmaker, he's a everything you could think of, a musician. We're joined here by Alex Sue from Rutgers New Work.
There we go.
Got it right this time. Jesus, took me how many tries? But no, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you coming out here, Alex. Go give this man a follow. Go give him a shout. Go show him some love. Don't show him no more hate. He's worked too hard to get this hate. All right, Alex, I hope we can have you on again.
Yeah, of
course.
course.
It was a blast.
For sure.
It was a fun time.
Thank you.
And everyone, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share it around. Much love.
Definitely. Thank you so much.